You probably know Pearl Police Chief Dean Scott and Richland Mayor Pat Sullivan. You may not know about their other jobs for the county. Tonight we share the paper trail that reveals the spending of tens of thousands of your tax dollars, all as a side hustle.
It's a huge red flag. Common sense says you can't be doing two jobs at the same exact time.
Robert Persiciti is a certified fraud examiner in Colorado. We approached him for this investigation because the state auditor's office refused to comment publicly on what we've uncovered. They wouldn't even say whether they're investigating it or not. But here's what 3 on Your Side found. We started digging into this more than 15 months ago, starting with check stubs we obtained. Every month, payments from Rankin County to Pearl Police Chief Dean Scott and Richland Mayor Pat Sullivan. Scott makes $85 grand a year as the city's top cop, plus more than $38,000 annually from his other job. Sullivan gets more than $72,000 as mayor of Richland and over $74 grand from the county. At first, we didn't know what kind of work they were doing to earn thousands extra for these low-profile jobs. Public records confirm both men work for tax assessor John Sullivan's office. Pat Sullivan's employed as a mapper there, beginning long before his brother John was elected and became his boss. 3 on Your Side found nearly 200 days over 5 years where Pat's public calendar as mayor of Richland had meetings at the same time as his job with the assessor's office 20 minutes away. Last year alone, his timesheets say he was working for the assessor's office, but his mayoral duties overlapped on 77 different days, according to his mayoral calendar. Over the last 5 years, we uncovered more than 20 days where Pat logged hours at the assessor's office, got paid almost $6 grand from the county, but was out of town on Richland city business at conferences nowhere near Rankin County. And then there are questions about how much vacation time Pat took. Rankin County's employee policies state that Pat gets 216 hours of vacation or leave time every year, and he can roll it over to another year if he doesn't use it. County records show that by 2017, Pat had banked more than 1,000 hours of leave, so he started taking it, 40 hours every pay period. When he ran out in November of the next year, he kept going, getting paid taxpayer dollars for vacation in excess of the hours he accrued.
What was his intent? Did he know in his heart what he was doing, or was it an honest mistake?
Well, he did this almost constantly for 4 years. All of that added up to nearly 2,400 hours extra that Pat got paid for. Those extra vacation hours put more than $85,000 of your tax dollars in Pat's pocket over a 5-year period. We want to emphasize that no public official has accused Pat Sullivan of wrongdoing. No charges have been filed, and the state auditor's office was not able to confirm or deny they're investigating it. But we shared these documents we found with Persiciti, an independent expert. He analyzed them and offered context for when claiming pay you haven't earned crosses a line.
Fraud is a willful intent to take money that doesn't belong to you, take something of value that doesn't belong to you. There's a very common fraud pattern to start small and then take more and more egregious actions. And many times the way people are getting caught is when they're taking actions that are so egregious that they break the system.
Who approved Pat's time? His brother, John Sullivan. John has yet to respond to our requests for comment, but last November, a few months after we started requesting Pat's paychecks from the county, the Rankin County Tax Assessor's Office purchased a new computer and 2 monitors to install at 380 Scarborough Street in Richland, according to records we obtained. That address is Richland City Hall, which would make it even easier for Pat to work both jobs from the same building. Now, more recently, Pat decided to step down as mayor, telling the Rankin County News a heart attack he had months ago was the reason behind it. All of this happening, though, during our year-long investigation into Pat's second job and requests we've made for his financial records. We've also been contacting him for weeks to see if he can explain to you, the taxpayer, what we've found. Pat has ignored all of those requests. And again, Pat Sullivan isn't the only person we found who's been paid for a job he's not always doing. After the break, we introduce you to the side hustle for Pearl's police chief and evidence we found that he was in 2 places at once. We continue our investigation tonight into side jobs from public officials in Rankin County. Dean Scott has served as Pearl's police chief since 2018. He also works for the county too, but that specific job is one that other tax assessors in 5 of the state's biggest counties have never heard of, including a longtime elected official right here in Hinds County. Rankin County supervisors approved hiring Dean Scott nearly a decade ago as a part-time homestead fraud investigator for the tax assessor's office, presumably to investigate whether residents who claim homestead exemption on their home actually live there. Hinds County tax assessor Charles Stokes says state law doesn't give that office any investigative authority. Is there anything investigative to that level that's done in your office?
No, sir. Okay. Because that's not even within the guidelines of the assessor's office.
Is there a need for a homestead exemption fraud investigator within your department?
No, sir, it's not.
Why?
Our job is just to take the application to the Chancery clerk's office. They the one, in my opinion, should hire somebody to go after people, not the assessor. That is beyond what we do.
Have you ever heard of any kind of position like this existing at other tax assessor offices around the state?
I have not. This is the first time, actually, with me talking to you about it, that has actually come up, and that was a question, because I've never heard it.
3 on Your Side asked Rankin County for all records dealing with homestead exemption investigations since 2014, when Scott was hired, to see just how much work he was doing to earn nearly $40,000 a year from taxpayers. The county sent us back paperwork for 42 cases. Scott has worked for the office since 2017. That's much lower than, say, Jackson County on the coast. We're told every year they delete 25 to 30 people from their homestead exemption list, though it's not always because of fraud. Now, we don't know if Scott worked more cases than that, because those 42 are all the county gave us. From payroll records and minutes, we estimate Scott has made more than $250,000 from this county job in the 9 years he's been there, despite the county only providing evidence he worked 42 cases over those 9 years that we specifically requested.
42 cases in 9 years?
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
Does that sound like a good return on investment to you?
It does not.
Which begs the question, what else is Scott doing in exchange for his paycheck from the county? In 2020, Scott claimed to work 22 hours for the tax assessor's office, while travel records show he was at a Biloxi casino for the Mississippi Association of Chiefs of Police conference. 2 years later, Scott went to another Chiefs conference on the coast and squeezed in 26 hours for the county. We tracked at least 8 different trips Scott took in the last 5 years for Pearl City business, while claiming to work more than 100 hours for Rankin County. The county has no record of him logging into their computer systems at all, and told us he has no county-issued computer.
You're not physically working there. You don't have access to the systems. Are you on the phone for 4 hours a day? What are you doing? Are you reporting back? Do you have a work product? Do you have any of these things? If you're getting paid for a job, you should do that job, right? If you're in a casino, there is no way you are doing assessor work. No reasonable person would believe that.
We also uncovered more discrepancies. Keycard logs from the city of Pearl show on 23 days over 4 years, Scott used his keycard to gain access to the police department building around the same time he was working for the county. On 7 different days, he filled up his city-issued police vehicle while working for the county, too. We wanted to ask him about all of this. 3 on Your Side started requesting to interview Chief Scott and Pearl Mayor Jake Windham more than a month ago. Mayor Windham would not agree to an interview with us unless we handed him the results of our investigation ahead of time, so we showed up at a Pearl board meeting to ask the chief ourselves. I thought the chief was here. He not here tonight?
Chief?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was here. He left.
Oh, did he leave a few minutes ago? We found out later that a city employee told Scott something after we walked into City Hall, and he immediately left the room and walked around the outside of the building to get back to his truck, when the much more direct route would have been to go past our cameras. One more thing. Scott's boss with the county, the person who approved his timesheets, is tax assessor John Sullivan. Sullivan did not respond to our multiple requests for comment. He did, however, give a clue to Scott's other job duties after getting arrested last year for driving under the influence. He name-dropped Scott 3 times while being booked in the Byram Police Department. At the time, we didn't know Scott worked for him.
Probably Dean Scott and Brian Bailey are probably going to call you. Okay, that's all I'm saying, but I'm not doing it. You see what I'm saying? I'm playing politics, yes sir, I'm playing politics, but no, I'm not disrespecting you. I'm just letting you.
Let me just say this.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, you gotta go forward by my number.
I got okay, but I didn't want it to sound like I was overstepping, you know what I mean?
I mean, with a DUI, There's not a whole lot I or anybody else can do to really help you. Most definitely. And they told me that, mother. Call me on anything and said a DUI.
Now, we also reached out to every Pearl alderman for this story. One told us, Howard, that he didn't want to talk on camera out of fear of retaliation from his own police chief. But I want to reiterate again here, no public official has accused Dean Scott or Pat Sullivan of wrongdoing, nor John Sullivan for approving these timesheets. No charges have been filed, and the state auditor's office has not confirmed or denied an investigation at this point.